Bloating was really the entire story of my life. That is until I found traditional Chinese medicine. The formulas from traditional Chinese medicine have been life-altering, and typically in my experience they work much better than probiotics. But bloating can sometimes be very complicated. I mean, you may be the person who eats the same food as your friends, the same quantity, the same speed, and yet your friend is totally fine, and you're sitting there with a food baby for 30 minutes or for an hour after meals. And it can lead you to wonder, why am I getting so bloated, and what is the cause of it? They all seem to be fine, but I'm the only one having problems. In this video, we'll discuss the causes of bloating, how traditional Chinese medicine views it, as well as some of the practices you can apply to feel much better. Hey guys, I'm Dr. Alex Heyne, board licensed doctor of acupuncture and traditional Chinese medicine, and author of the health book, Master the Day. So let's jump in. Now, truthfully, before I found traditional Chinese medicine, bloating was the story of my life. I was that kid that was always very, very thin, had this kind of failure to thrive or put on weight because my digestive system was bothering me so much for no reason. In particular, all of the things that I had tried. Initially, I had started off by going to a dietitian. Now, the dietitian had recommended adding lots of fiber to my diet, specifically because of how constipated I was all the time, even though I ate healthy. She said, try adding some bran to your oatmeal. The only thing that adding bran did to my GI was give me such bad abdominal pain from bloating and gas that I never went back to her. It didn't improve my bowel frequency that much, it just improved my bowel pain. Now, the next stop along this path was indeed a GI specialist. This guy didn't talk to me for too much. He just said, sounds like you have IBS, let's give you a colonoscopy. I didn't go back to that guy either, because his diagnosis frankly felt pretty lazy, and it didn't really feel like he took any time to know what was going on truthfully with me. As time went on, I had seen varying kinds of functional medicine practitioners, naturopathic doctors, functional doctors, etc. What I found was that while giving enzymes would help my stomach, it wouldn't really help my bloating. And while I had tried all of the gut supplements, the L-glutamine, the probiotics, the prebiotics, the fermented foods, none of them really made a significant difference in my bloating itself. And because of that, I was sort of back to square one. And it was through a chance encounter with an acupuncturist who didn't even specialize in Chinese herbs, but he just knew a few of the famous patent formulas that totally changed my life. So first and foremost, on the science side, what does bloating actually mean? In general, there are about half different causes of bloating overall. And it might be helpful to go through these one by one just so you can understand what is going on. So first and foremost, bloating typically for many people is excess gas production. The reason why this is important to remember is that some people come in and they say, for some reason it doesn't go away very much with bowel movements, or, even when I have bowel movements, I'm still feeling bloated. And the reason isn't that for many of us, the bloated feeling isn't necessarily from stool, it's from the excess gas being produced. The excess gas production can be from dietary factors, like eating high fiber foods or lactose intolerance, or it can be from the actual fermentation by the gut bacteria themselves. Now, the second one is related to factors like IBS or chronic constipation, which is impaired gut transit. If you think about it, if you're not having a bowel movement every day, of course there's some kind of backup happening. And the extent of that backup really depends on what you're eating and how much you're eating and how often you go to the bathroom. So for example, some functional disorders, IBS or chronic constipation, because you are having impaired transit times, of course there's going to be more gas buildup because it isn't having quite an easy ability to be expelled. The third is that you have some degree of gut dysbiosis. So the microbiota in the intestines and the small intestine have been altered, so there's not enough of the good bacteria and there's too much of the bad bacteria. Now, in this case, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, for example, can increase gas and bloating. So sometimes people will come in and they are noticing that backup of chronic gas production after meals. And if we treat this SIBO, this intestinal bacterial overgrowth, they will often notice less gas, even if their bowel movements don't become more regular. The fourth is an issue with motility overall. So for example, gastroparesis or slow intestinal transit impairs gas clearance. So some people will say, I eat food, but I'm not that hungry, and food sort of sits in my stomach for a long time. So I'm always having gas because it just feels like, frankly, I haven't digested the last meal. And there's an element of truth to that. If you have very slow transit, if you have gastroparesis, where food takes a long time to exit the stomach, then it is almost like a partial fermentation that's happening. And so, of course, you're experiencing more gas. And finally, there is something worth mentioning. In the people who have seen everybody, and they really aren't getting better, and they really don't objectively look like they're having that much gas, there is something called a general sensory hypersensitivity. And this is basically people who have an enhanced sensitivity to normal gut distension or bloating, especially in the case of like functional GI disorder. There isn't something structurally wrong with our gut. They legitimately are just hypersensitive to the feeling of being bloated. I've seen these people who are typically the ones that it's not so severe, but they are always feeling discomfort from gas and bloating. There's no objective lab, whether it's a hydrogen breath test for SIBO, physical abdominal palpation. If people have a lot of gas, you feel that, you hear it. Sometimes these people don't have anything, and they are just really very sensitive to their gut disruptions. Now, there can be lots of different causes of bloating and gas overall, but to actually get to the root cause, I'd highly recommend taking the free quiz I've put together. It's the first link below this video. You can also go to dralexheyne.com/quiz, and we actually go through functional digestive disorders, like is this coming from low stomach acid, low pancreatic enzymes, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, a gallbladder that's not functioning very well. What is it that is causing this excessive gas and bloating? Go check out that quiz because it can be very, very helpful for assessing what is the actual cause of what's going on. So, first link below this video. Now, from a traditional Chinese medicine point of view, excessive gas production, slow transit, like gastroparesis, food is sitting in your stomach, often falls into a textbook diagnosis called spleen qi deficiency. Now, you could think of that as like a functional deficiency of the stomach, pancreas, even small intestine absorption. So it doesn't quite translate very easily to English or to one organ, but I would say if I had to pick one, it would be the pancreas. So usually the three main patterns on a biomedical side that these people have are not enough stomach acid, not enough pancreatic enzymes, and they will often have issues with like bile flow in their gallbladder. They often will have, because of these three factors, poor absorption in the small intestine, or just a very clear food baby after their meals. And so treatments for what we call spleen qi deficiency, or traditional herbal formulas for spleen qi deficiency, work very well for improving these symptoms. So traditional formulas like sujinzitang, 4-gentleman decoction, or Li Zhongwan, regulate the middle pill, are very effective for improving these kinds of symptoms. This formula in particular that I just mentioned, the last one, Li Zhongwan, regulate the middle pill, is very effective for improving stomach acid, enzyme production in the pancreas, as well as food baby, gas after meals, and loose or floating stools from the gas production. I would highly recommend checking those formulas out or seeing a licensed practitioner, but these are often very, very helpful and very effective, more effective than acupuncture for treating functional GI issues that involve lots of gas and bloating. That is my 2 cents here for you guys. Again, don't forget, I work with a limited number of new patients every month in my clinic in Los Angeles or virtually via telemedicine. So if you guys want to work together, just reach out, go to dralexheyne.com/clinic or call the number in the description of this video or go to the website and email us down there below. And don't forget, I have another great video on treating bloating and GI symptoms right up here.